But first, let me take you on a journey. It is said that the Delta begins right here in the lobby of the Peabody Hotel in Memphis, Tennessee, and ends on Catfish Row in Vicksburg, Mississippi. They also say that this Peabody Hotel has 13 stories. That's not true. It has thousands of stories. Stories of visiting presidents consecutively, from Harry S. Truman to George W. Bush, of diplomats and dignitaries and monarchs. Stories of the big bands of the 30s and 40s, broadcasting live from the historic Skyway Ballroom up on the rooftop, and stories of the king of rock and roll, but also of anniversaries celebrated, and reunions visited, and to it all, the Peabody Ducks have marched from the rooftop down to the lobby and back, and in so doing, they've woven the fabric which contains the names and the faces of the events that are the history of this hotel. It all started back in 1869 when Colonel Robert Brinkley realized his dream by opening a state-of-the-art hotel just 2 blocks from here at Monroe in Maine, called the Brinkley House. It was to set the tone for cuisine and luxury in the South. Unfortunately, the Colonel's good friend and investor, Mr. George Peabody, passed away over in London about the time that hotel opened, and they changed the name to the Peabody Design. It went on there some 55 years at that location, hosting such luminaries as Teddy Roosevelt, President McKinley. Then on September the 1st, 1925, the doors opened to this beautiful, expanded facility we stand in today at the cost of some $5 million and a couple of years of construction. But that's not the whole history of this hotel, folks. Not by a long shot. So if you get an opportunity, go up to the mezzanine level and check out our memorabilia room. If you go in there, you'll see a collection of names and faces, souvenirs of decades past. My favorite is a framed memo from Mr. Gary Bell, managing partner of the hotel, to the food and beverage director who was trying to change the menu over into Chez Philippe. He told him, even though you have a French restaurant there, there better not be any duck on any menu at Peabody Hotel. The tradition of ducks in the Peabody goes back a long way. In fact, in 1933, when General Manager Frank Scott and his buddy Chip went on a cold duck hunt into the chilly backwaters of the Mississippi and Arkansas, they knew it was going to be a cold day. So they took along another companion, just for encouragement, a certain Jack Daniels, otherwise known as fine Tennessee sipping whiskey. Well, after all, it was going to be cold. They needed a little encouragement. But as the day wore on, apparently they became a little over-encouraged. They began to feel it would be a funny idea to bring the live duck decoys, which are legal in Arkansas in those days, back here and release them in the fountain. They did. Then they went off to their rooms to sleep it off. Well, the next morning, Mr. Scott was a little concerned about the mayhem that might have been caused due to his misdeeds the night before. After all, he was the general manager. So he rushed down to the lobby and got 2 surprises. Number one, the ducks were still here. They hadn't flown off to see Beale Street, or to search for Justin Timberlake, or Al Green, or Bruno Mars. And number two, a group of tourists and guests had gathered. They were delighted by the frolicking ducks in the fountain of such a fine hotel. So, of course, they were given a couple of days reprieve, turned into a 90-year tradition. Well, in 1940, Edward Pembroke was hired by the hotel as a bellman, but he was a multi-talented individual. In another life, he'd been an animal trainer with the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus. He told management upon his employment, if you let me, I'll take 5 North American mountain ducks, 1 male and 4 females, instead of these 3 English call ducks we have here, and I'll train them to march from the rooftop palace across to the elevator, down to the lobby level, across the red carpet and into the fountain. Every day at 11 o'clock and 5 o'clock, I'll march them back and put them to bed. Management didn't know what to think about that. They rolled their eyes and looked at each other and said, all right, Edward, give that a shot. See what you can do. And for 50 years, Mr. Pembroke guided ducks from the rooftop down to the lobby. And in so doing, he became an ambassador of goodwill for the Peabody Hotel and for the city of Memphis. He appeared at such venues as The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, the Sesame Street program, where he and his ducks helped to celebrate National Rubber Ducky Day. They also did photo shoots in People and other magazines such as If I was a person like Mr. Pembroke, I'd say that I've mastered what I've done. Management thought so, and so they bestowed upon Edward Pembroke the title Duck Master, the world's first duck master here at the Peabody Hotel. Well, he's no longer with us today, folks, but Mr. Pembroke's spirit remains here in this lobby. If you'll check out the southwest entrance to you, there's a framed picture of he and his beloved ducks looking down on our ceremony today. Well, that about wraps it up, except for a duty and a privilege that I have to perform. From time to time, we encounter someone with such integrity and such good personality, such people skills, as well as skills with the duckies, that we have to offer them an opportunity to come and help us with our duties here at the fountain. And today I have such a person. I want you to greet Dr. E. Bernstein. Dr. Bernstein is going to help me with my duties here at the fountain today, but before anything is official, we must have a proclamation. Everybody hears that. So here we go. Whereas the daily march of the world-famous Peabody Ducks is a time-honored tradition, begun in 1933 and attended by countless visitors, and whereas the caring and protection of the Peabody Ducks must be attended to on a daily basis, you can only call for persons of high standards and great distinction, and whereas you are such a person, be it resolved that on April the 7th, 2026, Dr. E. Bernstein becomes an honorary duck master. Congratulations. All right, hold on. Now, in honor of this auspicious occasion, we have an official Peabody rubber ducky to be snowed. This will change your baby as it's first. If you leave this right over there and come back. More importantly, so that she can help me with my duties properly here at the fountain, we have an official Peabody duck master's cane. All right, here we go. I'm glad you're here. We've talked about the history of the hotel, the tradition of the ducks, and I've introduced you my fine honorary duck master. All that remains is to go upstairs on the rooftop and retrieve our 5 feathered friends, bring them back down to the lobby level when that elevator door opens again in just a few moments. You too will be eyewitness to the world famous march of the Peabody Ducks. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.